Pardon? Region 5? I'm Region 5. No, I'm in 5. 5th, 4th, are in kindergarten.
Yell if we don't have them on.
Mark,
We haven't yet.
sign that way up. Huh? Oh, okay.
She's gonna fix that.
Fix that. Okay. 7 yet? Getting close.
Yes, I was counting down the minutes for you to get here.
You were ready for it, weren't you?
I was ready,
All right.
but I was glad you showed up.
I've already signed that.
Oh, Karina would like for you to look at her mask.
Go Chiefs.
You're wearing yours, I had to wear mine.
Trust me, I don't want to wear a mask, but I better. Now that I'm either immune or I'm not, I'm not sure how that works. Heard too many different stories about it.
I know.
All
Hopefully you are.
All right, let's see. Who can I pick on? Kevin Ivey. That's who I'll pick on.
I know I was doing that too before you got here.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Appreciate everybody coming. Kevin Ivey, would you lead us in the pledge tonight, please? I see you back there.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is public comments. Now is the appropriate time for visitors in the audience to be recognized, speak to items both on the agenda of general concern to the patrons of the district. There will be a limit of 3 minutes for an individual, 5 for a group spokesperson. No speaker shall speak more than twice on any issue. Board is legally obligated to maintain confidentiality concerning district personnel, and therefore matters concerning district personnel will not be discussed. Does anybody like to speak to the board tonight? There being none, we'll move on. Our next item is a recognition of Green River High School FFA students for the Wyoming State Fair and the Sweetwater County Fair. Ms. Tolman, welcome.
Hi, Chairman Corr, members of the board, Superintendent Behringer. Thank you again for having me and being able to recognize some of our FFA students. We have a handful of them here to recognize them for their accomplishments at the county and state fairs this summer. I know we have heard this a lot, but yet another aspect of our students' lives presented a lot of uncertainty and change, and that was in our fairs because of COVID-19. But thankfully, our FFA members were still able to participate in both the county and state fairs. This year, we had around 20 FFA members compete in our classroom and livestock competitions at the county fair. For our classroom or static exhibits, students enter projects where they completed in class during the school year, which wasn't a lot since we were cut short. This year, those ranged from welding projects to woods projects that they ended up having to finish at home, to knot boards, suture display boards, a chapter scrapbook, and even some science fair projects. Our students participating in those areas included Addison Neff, Ridge Hester, Casey Olson, Cameron McNaughton, Liberty Savensky, Camelin Lloyd, Delaney Gardea, Savannah Mora, and Aiden Schultz. With the uncertainty of having an in-person fair this year, our livestock numbers were down considerably, just due to the fact that kids didn't know if we would have an in-person fair and if it'd be worth having an animal there. But thankfully, we still had some kids raise some outstanding livestock that were competed and represented our FFA chapter this year at the county and state fair. Representing us in the poultry area was Delaney Gardea, sheep, Justin Flores, horse, Justin Flores and Alexa Losey, beef, Darren Macy, swine, Madison Tate, Justin Flores, Zach Mikesell, Ashton Lucero, Delaney Gardea. In the goat area was Camelin Lloyd, Delaney Gardea, and Zach Mikesell. Moving on to state fair, we had 3 members compete at the Wyoming State Fair, which was one of 3 state fairs that actually happened in person across the nation. So we were very, very thankful we had these 3 members go and represent us there. Now, state fair is a whole different ballgame, and it increases the competition tenfold when the kids go to state fair. So the 3 kids we had go had some outstanding accomplishments. Delaney Gardea won reserve champion FFA poultry showmanship, and this was her first time competing at that level, so we were pretty ecstatic about that. And we have hopes that she's going to go win next year. Casey Olson was awarded the overall grand champion in the FFA Ag Mechanics division, which for a girl to go and win a boy-dominated competition was pretty amazing. And all the ag teachers were very, very impressed with her welding. So I guess Mr. Wilson has some credit that you can take there. Justin Flores also exhibited swine this year, and he placed in the top of all of his market classes, which again, when you go to state fair, the competition increases exponentially. And to even be able to place in the top 10 of a class of 20 with your market animals is amazing to say also. I would just like to again thank you for your continued support of our FFA chapter. For many students, this organization is where they fit in and they feel welcome, where they might not find that in another aspect in the high school. So I really find that it gives some kids a place and a home. So I appreciate your guys' support of our chapter. Thank you.
Any questions? Comments? I got to tell you that I've been on the board for 20 years, and bringing the FFA program to Green River High School is one of the top 5 accomplishments I have as a school board member. I can tell you, it's a cool program. And when you look at Green River being more mining than agricultural, the fact that these kids did so well is awesome.
Yeah,
so good job.
It's really cool to see that a kid from Green River, Wyoming, that's not ag based can go and still compete with all of the farm and the ranch kids that live and breathe this every day, where our kids might not get to do that. So it kind of makes those other kids think a second that Green River has something to offer.
And you need to pat yourself
be
on the
just as
back a little bit too,
competitive.
because you've done a great job with the program.
Thank you. I
Appreciate
appreciate it.
Thank you, and
Thanks.
congratulations. Sure, a heck of a lot more fun if we didn't have COVID and we could celebrate a little bit more than what we're doing. But I appreciate the patience with this. Next up is recognition of the Regional Tennis Coach of the Year. And Tony, is he in here? Okay, we'll shuffle some people in. Oh, we're doing cheerleaders first. I'm sorry. Recognition of All-American cheerleaders. And the All-American cheerleaders have arrived. Allison, I want to call you Meredith. I know it's Luna. Welcome.
Hi.
You can lower that mic. There you
Yeah, I'm
go.
a little short. My name is Allison Luna. I'm the Green River High School cheer coach, and I'm assisted by Michaela Smart this year. And our All-Americans this year, which was picked in September of 2020, is Addie Beardsley. She's a first-time All-American, and she also earned All-State last year. Angie McKinnon, she is a 2-time All-American, and she earned All-State last year as well. Sydney Sterlingson, 2-time All-American, All-State last year. Derek Meeks, 2-time All-American and All-State last year. And Miss Lauren Jensen, who is also All-American this year. And they will all get to try out for All-State in December of this year. So hopefully another All-American, All-State honor added to their jackets. That's
All right, thanks. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the recognition of our regional tennis coach of the year, and then Philip will also recognize the all-state tennis players as well. So, Mr. Beardsley, welcome. Thanks for being our guide here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees for once again taking the time to have all these great groups, FFA, tennis, cheer, golf this year, come in and for the coaches to display these great kids and talk about them. So anyway, at this time, I would like to recognize again our South Region Tennis Coach of the Year, Mr. Phil Harder. And come on up here, Phil. I think one thing that I'd like everyone to know is that the neat thing about earning the honors of Coach of the Year is it comes from your peers. So it comes from the other coaches in the conference that vote for who they believe has earned that Coach of the Year accolade. And so it shows the leadership and how much Phil Harder's peers look up to him and our program. And I can tell you, we hosted regionals this year. It ran extremely smoothly. We got all sorts of great comments about it. It was due to Phil really organizing it. Yes, I help him and Mr. Behringer, we conned into helping. But really it's Coach Harder and his coaching staff and all of our parents and kids that run the show there. And they did a great job. And also Phil is becoming a great leader amongst all the tennis coaches in the state. He's leading the way in some of the items that we are working on to make the sport of tennis even better. And so Green River will probably come up with a couple of proposals that will help us make sure that the state tournament is run efficiently and even better. Some ideas that Phil has. So with that, thanks, Mr. Harder, and I will turn it over to you and you can talk about your tennis players. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and the school board members. I'd like to thank the high school staff, Mr. Heslop, Mr. Amwini, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Beardsley, and Ruth DeWick for all their help in getting activities going for us this fall. I know that process started this summer, and none of us were quite sure if we would be here in front of you guys getting to present our teams and our all conferences and our all staters, and the dedication in our district by everybody just is unreal. And we thank you, and our parents thank you for all of that hard work so that we could be here today. Goodness, this is our boys and our girls tennis teams. I invited them all because they played their butts off this year and they got some awards. Our boys team are the South Conference regional champions and conference champions. So they're the season conference champ and the regional tournament champions. And our girls were runner-ups in the conference and at the regional tournament. They lost to Central, who was our state champion. In fact, our girls team has been runner-ups the last 3 years, losing to Central, who have been the state champions all 3 years. And so they go up against the best competition and they prove their worth, and then it goes into state, and we have great turnouts there. At the state tournament, our girls finished 4th overall and trophied, and then our boys were 5th. But I'd like to present a few things, and that's our all conference awards and our all staters. So on our boys side, our all conference honors were Connor Friel, Camden Nelson, Dominic Kunkel, Braxton Cordova, Zach Friel, John Ty Leininger, and Jacob Finlow. And on our girls side, our all conference was Gabrielle Heiser, Megan Counts, Emmy Archibald, and Kaylee Carson. And that's a lot of names I listed off for all conference. There's 16 members of our varsity squad, boys and girls. And there's 4 there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 11 out of 16 were all conference. And that's pretty incredible. Our all staters were Caden Grubb, Braxton Cordova, Zach Friel, And on the girls' side, Gabrielle Heiser, Allie Brown, and Kylie Strange. So 6 out of 16 were all state recognized. And that's a testament to their hard work. They put the time in over the summer because they can't do it over the winter. We don't have indoor facilities here like some of the other teams do, but we sure get out in the summer and play a lot, and it shows in the fall. And so I'm super proud of them and super excited. I know Mr. Core likes stats, and so I brought you stats if you'd like to see them.
Here. Well, maybe not here. But
I'll bring them to you. I'll bring them to you as we leave, but I'd like to present these nice all-state gold leaf to my kids here. Zach Friel, Braxton Cordova. These two boys are our state champions in Wyoming. Aiden Grubb. Aiden Grubb played #1 singles for us this year and the last few years actually, and finished 5th at the state, but #1 singles is the toughest spot in the state. And he goes up against everybody's best, and he got all state recognized. So that was fantastic. On our girls' side, Gabrielle Heiser. Miss Heiser has played #1 singles for us the last 2 years, and she broke through this year and got 4th place at the state tournament, which is fantastic at #1 singles. And Kylie Strange and Allison Brown, #3 doubles for us. These two ladies got to the state championship. They ended up 2nd, but boy, they had a heck of a run getting there, and it was fun to see them go from, I believe it was 3rd at regionals, and then to go on to 2nd place at states. Pretty cool to see them to step up like that. And thank you, board members, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, all of your help this season. And everybody out there, thanks for supporting our tennis team, and parents as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, next up on the agenda is a recognition of the All-State golfers. And as many of you know, I play golf, and I got to watch these kids play golf all summer long. Carly's doing a good job with that program, getting the kids out there play golf. So Carly, I welcome you, and the podium's yours.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chairman Core. Thank you, Superintendent Behringer, and all board members. I really appreciate your guys' support throughout the season. I also want to thank the principals up at the high school, actually the whole staff, all the way to Kim Richardson in the office. They made our season fantastic. Transportation was fantastic. If any of you know George, he's like our team bus driver, takes care of us, and we always want to give a good shout out to the Moody's in general because they're just a great family that takes care of us. I would like to thank my assistant coaches, which I have 3 this year. Mike Baker has always been with me for the last 4 years and just a fantastic guy that's really building up our JV. And then this year we've had the addition of 2 volunteer coaches that by all rights and means are actual traditional coaches with the hours that they put in, which are the Salises, and they've done a fantastic job. So just a thank you to them, as well as our parents, because we have a great support system with our parents. And then of course our team. They're just an absolutely dedicated team. I coached previous to this team and had this kind of opportunity to present my students that succeeded. It was a great feeling. I took a little break to do some military things. And when I came back, had to start with a very new, raw group of kids. And this is their 4th year for some of our seniors. building up towards this. So it's amazing to get to share this with you because of their success. So on the boys side, we're still fairly young, but we do have a lot of promise coming up. We had one boy that was just one, actually it was a tie. He actually was 11th place based off of a scorecard tie for all conference. And he's just a sophomore. So we've got strength coming back there as well as leadership. And on our girls side, if you weren't following us, we did fantastic. We actually mopped the floor with the team, so to speak, for our home tournament, which was fantastic to see that we had 4 of our girls medal at that tournament. Going into conference, I think they put a little pressure on themselves, and we slid back to 3rd, which wasn't their best ability, but it was still good that they kept their composure. And we actually had Isabel Salas take 3rd at conference, and Darren Macy, who was brand new to us and brand new to golf, she took 7th. And then our 10th place finisher for conference was Kaylee Lundgren, one of our seniors. We actually had a girl that was 1 stroke out of the top 10 as well in Kaylee Gibson. And then moving into state, we were thrilled with their performance. We finally got through on that mental side of things. The girls came out and played fantastic on day 1. We were actually in the lead to win the state championship by 6 strokes. And then second day, just the nature of golf, they didn't play quite as well, but they actually maintained that mental aspect like we asked them to, held their composure, and ended up with a 3rd place finish and some top finishers. So I'm going to call them up while I present them because of the hard work that they've done. So our senior that was 10th at conference, and actually last year didn't get to be recognized for conference because of how everything ended at this season, Kaylee Lundgren. And I will say, I'm just going to take a moment to speak about her because, like I said, she came to us as a freshman with very little golf experience and worked her tail off to just pursue and push and persevere. But more than that, she brought to us what is more important to me about our program. She was the leader that we needed, that wasn't just the captain that wants to play well and have her team win. She was the leader that actually took care of her teammates, invited them all out to do whatever it was going to be in every single kid on the team, and turned our team into a family, which is what we're pushing for. So we definitely are going to miss her physically, but we're going to feel that kind of legacy she left behind for years to come. And then next we have our junior that should be coming back to us, and first season, like I said, to come out and to place in conference. And then we actually ended up using her score for state as well. So it just showed the depth of our team, is Darren Macy. And if you don't know her already from all of her other sports, she is an absolute athlete and has brought a tremendous amount of energy and dedication to our team. This is the girl that first week she was trying golf with us, was already doing very well and asking what else she could do in the mornings, before practice, after practice, you name it. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's up here for All-State as well next year. And so thank you, Darren. Okay. And last but certainly not least, one that you guys will all get to see for years to come, Isabel Salas. Come on up. This is just a special treat for me as a coach because I can't take credit for anything she's doing. It's her work ethic, her parents, the time that they've put into her, and just the experiences she'd had around the nation. She's nationally ranked. She took second place at state to a freshman that was equally talented. And I'm talking the girl that beat her shot a 77 in cold weather, and I'm watching her chip in for eagle on different holes, right with Isabel the whole way, tracking along with her. So we have 4 very exciting years to see them compete back and forth. Her 3rd place finish at conference for her was a letdown, but for me as a coach, I was excited to see her get that experience because she is just a freshman, and she's already going to kind of foster that leadership she's learned from Kaylee and help our team grow and build. And the most exciting part about it for me as a former golfer for Green River High School, I think the best we finished was 2nd place, which was kind of a fluke situation. We just kind of snuck up on a team. To see this program grow where my first year back, had 3 girls playing and a number of boys, and to build our program back up to 24 kids. So we had a solid 10 boys and 12 girls. We have the depth to keep pushing and keep building, and the support we had from even Rolling Green Country Club, the ladies association out there really took them under their wing, has joined with us. It's just fantastic things to come, and I wouldn't be surprised, knock on wood, if these girls will bring home a state title to you within the next 3 years, if not the next 3 years in a row. That's how confident and proud of them I am. So thank you all for your support. And thank you again, Isabel and all the girls. Thank you for
Thank you.
taking the time.
Well, Carly, on behalf of Rolling Green, as you know, I'm a board member out there. I appreciate what you folks did from last year to this year, and we had to work out some kinks, and I had nothing but positive reaction from the people of Rolling Green. As you know, can sometimes be a tough crowd to be around, but hats off to you and your program, and we're excited to be part of that, Rolling Green.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job.
All right, let's move on to the next item, which is recognition of nutrition services staff, and wonderful letter in our board booklet. And Leah, I assume that you're here to talk about the letter from the First Lady of Wyoming.
I am. Come on. They're here. They're peeking through the door. Go that way. Yeah, go that way.
Holy cow.
There's a lot of them. Sorry, I'll make it quick. So I had them come in as, I'm sorry, Chairman Corps, Superintendent Berenger, Board of Trustees. I had them come in grouped by school. So I have Lori Lucas, Heather Smothers, Amy Sample, Chelsea Church, Samantha Ashley. It's her birthday today. And Crystal. And that's my Lincoln crew. I'm missing 3 that couldn't make it tonight. And then next I have Monroe, and I only have 3 here. I'm missing 1. I have Patricia Syersdahl, and I have Audrey Gomez and Carrie Nelson. Then I have my Washington crew, which is Sarah Hamilton and Kim Phillips. You guys can wave if you want. Next I have Truman, which is Shannon Adam and Kim Barger. And I'm missing a few of my high school crew, the last crew here, certainly not least, but you are last. His chart is Kim Overson, Katie Rasmussen, Charlene Libby. We're missing Lisa Adams from the high school and Brandy. I'm also missing my 2 girls from Harrison, which is Misty Newmeyer and Jessica Hunter. I received this letter in June, and due to COVID, I could not share this. The girls did not even know about the letter until today. So they've all received a letter and also a Hunger Initiative pin that says Hunger Hero on it. Kathy, will you go to the next slide? These ladies served 388,153 meals in 1920. That's 123,000 meals more than 1819. So I'm extremely proud of them. It was a lot of hard work, but they did it. Sorry, that's the passion for the program. And last but not least, I have to recognize Charlene Libby. So at the beginning of the school year, we had our training, and I recognized everybody that was 10 years and under at our training. And Charlene came up to me after and said, Leah, I didn't get my certificate. And I said, oh, I thought it was last year. And she says, no, it was this year. So Mary got it for me. Charlene has been with the district for 25 years. Wow. And I know you're going to kill me for doing this, but that's okay. So, and all of her 25 years has been in nutrition services. So pretty amazing. You guys have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Outstanding job, ladies. Outstanding job. We appreciate what you do for the school district. 25 years, that's impressive, I gotta admit. And on behalf of all our kids, thank you very much.
I also can't forget Brooke Birmingham back here. She's my right
Brookie.
arm. So
Hi, Brooke.
Keeps me laughing. So thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Appreciate it. Okay, next up on our agenda is the introduction of our technology director, Dr. Foose. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, trustees. I'd just like to recognize J.R. Williams tonight, the old Mountain View Buffalo, grew up there in the valley. So, but on a little bit more of a serious note, it's neat to see a Wyomingite with his skill set, which is exceptional. And these technology skills and things that people like you have, JR, I know you can probably go anywhere in the nation and do some of those things. So wanted to recognize you tonight and congratulate you moving up to the technology director of the district. I also wanted to thank you for sticking with the district this past year and just give you some kudos that are due to you tonight. So thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you, JR. We welcome you aboard and we think you're doing a great job. Good job. Next up is the introduction of new teachers. And Dr. Foose, I guess you're going to start this off.
Yeah, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to fill in for Ralph Obrey tonight. Fred Putri, are you here? Not seeing him. Fred is our math teacher, our new hire up at EA, and he had kind of an interesting route back here to teach, but he is a Green River High School graduate, which those things are also neat to come back and serve where you graduated high school. But Fred spent quite a bit of time down there in Cheyenne, and he worked at the junior college tutoring math and doing all those things, been around math his entire life, moved up to Laramie where he worked for Gear Up for a number of years and finally wanted to go ahead and finish that degree and become a full-blown K-12 teacher. And this is his first year here with us at EA. And Fred, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Darren.
Mr. Heslop, our new principal of Green River High School. Welcome.
Thank you. Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. I'd like to introduce our new staff. I asked them at the beginning of the day to please send me a short bio. Some of them did, some of them didn't. So for those that didn't, I'm going to have a little fun. The first one is Maya Bankston. Maya did send her bio. Can I have you stand up, Maya? Maya attended Black Hill State University, and some of the things that she likes to do is reading, writing, and anything that allows her to be outside, including hunting, camping, and hiking. She teaches 9th and 10th grade English, and she's going to be sponsoring our Young Authors program. Danielle Dieters is a social worker for our school. Danielle comes to us from the University of Wyoming and Walden University. She's worked in Sweetwater County the last couple of years in treatment and prevention work. She enjoys traveling, being outdoors, mountain biking with her boyfriend, and hanging out with her dog. New to our school, but not to our district, is Mr. James Kiros. He's a social studies teacher, and he didn't send his bio. I'll be kind. James transferred to us from Lincoln Middle School this year. He's a social studies teacher. And when he was at Lincoln, when I used to be there a few years ago, he was one of the students' favorite teachers. Students know him as Mr. Q. He's well-liked and respected by staff and students at both Lincoln Middle School and Green River High School, and he's a tremendous addition to our team. Miss Natalie Rainey is also an English teacher for us at Green River High School. She graduated from BYU. We won't hold that against her. She taught English last year at Expedition Academy as a long-term substitute, and then we got to hire her in our building. She's the mother of 6 children. She's married to Brad Rainey, who works in Parks and Recreation Director for our city, and she also is our journalism teacher for Green River High School. And the last person I have on my list is not new to our district either, but he's new to his position. It's Mr. Steve Schwartz. Steve Schwartz was promoted from the Dean of Students to Assistant Principal of Green River High School this last year. When I was at Lincoln a few years ago, he was an English teacher, and he was another one that the kids just absolutely love to be around. He's doing those same types of things while trying to do discipline, which is really hard to do, but the kids still love him. So appreciate you letting me be here today, and thank you very much.
All right. Matt Mickelson, Principal, Lincoln, welcome.
Chairman Course, Superintendent Behringer, that's a little low there, Darren. Members of the board, we're going to clear out half the room here when we're done, so I'm going to go fairly quick. We've got a line change here, so. All right, first up, Jason Forsgren, he's our new SRO. We have Jared Flores, Physical Education. Michelle Lyons, Spanish and ELL. Dewan Gunduz, 7th grade math. Henry Kana, 8th grade science. Seaton, 7th grade science. Tara Flom, 7th grade science. Brittany Kodrowski, special education. Mackenzie Brown, school counselor. I didn't see Edwin. Is Edwin here tonight? Edwin Muniz, he's a student teacher for us, PE. He's not with us tonight. Kelly Warden, student teacher. Stephanie Miner, student teacher.
All right, thank you and welcome to the district. Mr. Lake, welcome.
That is a little tall. Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, Board of Trustees. I'd like to introduce you tonight. I have two brand new members of our staff that are joining our school. We lucked out this year. We really did. One of them's not here, Kirsta Fouts. She's a 4th grade teacher, brand new. She did her student teaching in Salt Lake, from Salt Lake area, but is just outstanding. The second is Yolanda Crowder. She's a Green River graduate, and she's been working at CDC as a social worker there. We actually stole her from Lincoln. So we lucked out. She is outstanding. So welcome them. They're outstanding. So.
Welcome.
It up a little bit, Steve.
Oh.
Chairman Gore, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. I'm very excited to introduce two amazing new staff members to the already dynamic staff at Washington Elementary. And first of all, joining us in kindergarten, we have Carrie Lynn Crow, who is a Green River graduate. While she was working on her teaching degree and finishing up her license, she was also a reading interventionist over at Monroe as a paraprofessional. So we're excited to have her join us at Washington in kindergarten. And my second new teacher is Michaela Fletcher, who comes to us with, yes, comes to us with 3 years of teaching experience at the 4th grade level, and she's in 1st grade, and in Walden, Colorado. But she did student teach here with Mr. Lake over at Harrison. So we're excited to have her with us. These are two amazing assets to our staff, and I'm excited to watch them learn and grow this year.
All right, thank you, Anne Marie. Appreciate it. David, welcome.
Thank you.
I
Chairman
try your
Court.
last name, but I probably butcher it.
That's all right. You don't need to. Mr. A is good.
Mr. A, yeah.
Yeah. Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, Board of Trustees. We have two familiar faces in new positions this year at Truman. We have Emily Roska, who has been a para in our building for 8 years. So now she's got the position to kind of match her experience there. We also have Natalie Gomez, who comes back to Truman from the CDC. They are neither one new to the district, but both in new positions this year. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right.
Monroe.
Monroe. All right. Last but not least, hope I don't mess up here. So good evening, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and the Board of Trustees. We've had two new staff members with us. They're doing awesome this year. We have Mr. Nick Hoskins. Who's a graduate of Green River High, 2015. So it just kind of shows you that I'm getting older over here. So kind of crazy to think. He went to University of Wyoming with a Bachelor of Music in Music Ed. And this is his first year teaching, and we were able to snatch him up. So we're super excited. He's doing a phenomenal job with us. Next, we have Todd Harrod. Todd's been a native of Green River for the past 20 years. He hails from Williston, North Dakota. He has a master's degree in business administration from North Dakota State, as well as an MSD from Purdue University. He became interested in special education because of his son, who was in special education and on an IEP. Todd decided he wanted to help and teach others who struggled. He's loving his job at Monroe and is willing to help wherever he is needed. He's one of those amazing people that are here for kids. They don't have to be here. They're in the profession because they want to be here. And those are some powerful people because they're here for the right reasons. He also serves as the vice president of the Green River Education Association. His wife, Becky, has been a teacher in the district for 20 years. She teaches 5th grade at Truman. And in his spare time, he can be found chasing elk, fishing, or camping. So welcome, Todd.
All right, welcome. All right, thank you. Next is Give Me a Break. Draw my name out of there. I assume school board members are in there. Mary Shaw. She is a lifeguard. Can you do that job? Okay. All right. As long as you don't have to jump in, right? All right, congratulations. All right. All right, next up on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. I do have a change that I want to present to you. I would like to have a little bit of a discussion on the consent agenda item 4.05, the Green River High School Science Field Trip Grant. So if we could get that moved to 9.0A, I'd appreciate it. I just have a couple of questions on that I think I want to discuss. So if I could move that to 9.0A. So I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Karina, second by Ashley. I need the amendment to move 4.05 off the consent agenda item to 9.01A. We need that motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rochelle, seconded by Karina. All those in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And all those in favor of the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Brenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is our district goal leadership activities. Granger, who went?
Me and Rochelle.
Mark. Okay, and Rochelle.
Yes.
Anything to report?
It was, well, I was a little bit late because do not trust your Google Maps when you're going out there. So I'll give Laura a shout out from transportation. She walked me through it and got me there after I went out to YDOT as well. But that is an awesome little school. It is the sweetest little thing and great teacher, great staff, super clean, well kept. They said they've got sage grouse out there. They did ask about switching their mascot to the sage grouse, and they would like us to discuss that because
They're the bulldogs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the bulldogs. The sage grouse jump over the fence and hang out with the kids, and they don't run from them and they don't attack them. So that was a big deal because I'm deathly afraid of birds. So I was impressed by that.
Okay.
So it was awesome.
Okay, Mark, you got anything to add?
Same. It seems to be running very well, and building is, they didn't have any requests there, and I like the sage grouse thing myself. I guess I'll be correct.
Yeah,
on that.
the Granger Sage Grouse. They'd be the only school that have that mascot. I guarantee
Ranger
you that.
grouse.
All right, thank you very much for attending that and representing the board. Craig, did you have anything you wanted to add? Okay. Next item is our candidate forum coming up a week from yesterday, this coming Monday. It'll be here at Central Administration. There will be no public allowed to attend. It will be on our Facebook page. Is that where we do?
The YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. So it'll be streamed there if you're interested in that. 10 people talking. That could be interesting. Next item is a reminder of the Wyoming School Board Association Annual Conference that has been moved to virtual. That'll be a virtual conference. And our National School Board Conference, New Orleans, coming up in April. We got plenty of time to think about that. Next item is under personnel. Consider approval of the 2021 new certified contract. Dr. Foose, welcome back.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Berenger, trustees. I'd like to bring forward for your consideration certified contract for Tara Flom. She has met the requirements to become a certified district and teach in the district science teacher at Lincoln. Thank you for your consideration.
Need a motion, please?
Second.
Moved by Robin, second by Brenda to approve Tara Flom as a new science teacher at Lincoln. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is under curriculum instruction and assessment. Here an update from Green River High School on school improvement grant. Mr. Heslop, Mr. Imoni, and I know it's not Kevin Ivy because no, but is he, there's no way. I saw the better half of that relationship in the audience. So, our head basketball coach. So, Mr. Imoni, welcome.
Thank you. Chairman Core, Superintendent Berenger, and Board of Trustees. I'll actually be flying solo tonight. So unfortunately, Miss Ivy said that she wasn't going to come up and talk with me tonight. So I'll be flying solo. And then Matt texted me earlier.
You don't have to
before the
have a
meeting.
headset on. Come on, you can do it.
Then Mr. Mickelson texted me before the meeting and said his attention span's only about 5 minutes. And I told him I'll see what I can do. So
anybody else you want to throw under the bus here? A
couple more.
You're good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's running late. So,
okay.
So as you may know, Green River High School has been awarded a school improvement grant for partially meeting expectations on the Wyoming State Accountability Model during the 2018-19 school year. The work being highlighted tonight is mostly work we've done with the GRHS Math Department during the 2019-20 school year. The work will continue this school year. However, we are also doing work throughout the building to align with what the state of Wyoming says our students needs to know and be able to do. We'll touch on the work being done in different departments prior to the presentation. Before we start the presentation, though, we want to share that this has been a team effort. We have an amazing community, students, and district. Sweetwater 2 is a great place to work. We truly believe if school wouldn't have been shut down in March, Green River High School would have met or exceeded expectations. With that, thank you to the school board central office, Jamie Christensen last year, Greg, Allen, Jason, Gail, Craig Berenger this year, Lori Ivy, Darren Howard, Darren Heslop, Steve Schwartz, and most importantly, our staff and students for the continued support and work to improve student achievement. So with that, I'm going to try to work the clicker. So this may be different than your board docs. If it is, I apologize. But we also wanted to highlight some of the other good work that other departments are doing throughout the school that's in line with a lot of the accountability model. So English language arts is doing similar work that hopefully we'll get to showcase next year about a lot of the improvement that they'll have done this school year. Science is continuing their work in the NGSS phenomena and 3D model work. Something really cool that they're doing that we learned a couple weeks ago is that they are actually co-teaching biology classes. So their biology classes are a little smaller than they have been in the past. And so they're actually taking classes to different classrooms and co-teaching them. So for example, Mrs. Allen is taking her biology class to Mr. Carroll's room and they're co-teaching courses together. So I thought that was pretty cool. CTE, they're still working on the Perkins 5 grant. which offers professional development and for our CTE teachers for continued education, along with buying supplies for our kids. They're also they implemented last year an OSHA certificate training, which aligned to the state accountability model for post-secondary. Health and physical education, they've developed lifetime activity courses to give our students more options past foundations and strength and conditioning. Special services is improving collaboration with general education teachers, paraprofessionals, and special education teachers. We're also providing our students more post-secondary opportunities. This work, the counseling office, social workers, they've implemented a Hope Squad with help of Alan and Danny Dieters, which basically is a program where 12 of our staff members have been determined as mentors to mentor students in the building to identify at-risk students and help prevent suicide and self-harm. Our counselors are also working on career pathways to align with the state accountability model. The SRO's office, Officer Hemphill, is updating our crisis management policies and procedures and improving them. He also teaches every Wednesday during WIN, Cyber SWAT, which is a digital citizenship course. So we wanted to highlight the Green River High School missions and vision statement. We're going to focus mostly on academic achievement tonight, so students reaching their full potential on academic achievement. Up on your screen now is the Wyoming accountability model. So this is the 2018 result and 19 results. So these aren't current because we didn't have any data from last year. So in 2018 and 19, this is where we were partially meeting expectations, but the Every Student Succeeds Act basically replaced No Child Left Behind, which tasked Wyoming and other states across the country to make an accountability model for schools in the state. Basically, as you look at it, the accountability model is a few categories, but YTOP, 9th and 10th grade YTOP testing accounts for 60% of the accountability model. So, and what they measure through the YTOP assessment is achievement, growth, equity, and ELL, English language learning students. So those are the 4 categories that attribute to 60% of the model. The rest of the model is grad rate, 9th grade credits, and post-secondary progress. The middle, so if you look at the cut scores in the middle, that's how you meet expectations through the model. And then the column on the right was Green River's scores in 2018-19. So orange is below, green is meeting, blue is exceeding. Then on the bottom is a little blurb on how they calculate it. So with YTOP being such a big piece of the model, we started to focus on the YTOP results. So what you see in front of you are the 2018, 2019, 9th and 10th grade math results. In 9th grade math in 2018 and 19, we were 5 points below the state average. In 10th grade math, we were 6 points below the state average, which led to a big reason why we're on a school improvement plan and received a school improvement grant. So we worked with Central Administration, Black Hills Special Services, Cooperative, Instructional Intensity, Ivy League Learning, and staff members to more intentionally analyze the model, review results, target areas of weakness and strength, and provide support for those areas. So in order to do that, we needed a baseline. So every fall, our kids take the interim assessment, and that's in September. The window opens in September, closes around the end of October. And so a couple things to think about with the assessment. The interims don't count towards the accountability model. What they do count towards, or what they allow us to look at, is where our students would be if no further instruction was provided until the summative happened in April. So that's what's beneficial about the interims, is basically this is telling us that this is where our kids would be if no further instruction occurred up until April, is basically what it's assessing. So you can see, I'm blind. So you can see again, 9th and 10th grade math, we're below the state average in proficient and advanced students. So after we looked at the data and analyzed everything, we developed a plan to get better and align ourselves with what the state of Wyoming wanted our kids to know and be able to do. So all of our core content areas have a daily common plan so they can collaborate. We changed our interventions from grade-based to skill-based. That was not the most popular idea, but it's really helped us narrow down into classroom skills that we can identify kids now based on skill gaps, and teachers request those students to close those skill gaps. So that's why changing it from grade-based to skill-based has been beneficial. We're still working on the enrichment piece. So if you guys have any ideas or want to come by and present during an intervention session, on Wednesday, feel free. And we'd love some people to come by and present some enrichment sessions. So we've also scheduled time for teachers to collaborate once a week in professional learning communities. So that's Wednesday before or after interventions. We've aligned the courses to what the state of Wyoming wants our students to know and be able to do. As we were analyzing the state accountability model and looking at our data, we noticed that 55 freshmen in the 2018-19 school year were in, and this is math, specifically math, were in below grade level courses and being exposed to or tested on content they weren't exposed to. So for example, we had 55 freshmen, 3 sections of pre-algebra. So they were taking pre-algebra and being tested in algebra 1. So that was a big thing. They were being tested in something that they weren't being taught. So we reduced the number of resource math sections. So we reduced those pre-algebra sections from 3 to 1, and which is about less than 10% of our students to 7. So we went from 55 students in those pre-algebra courses to 7. One thing that we knew though, is once we reduced those course numbers, we would have to provide those students extra support. So as we're moving along, we also noticed as we're looking at our resources that our math resources weren't aligned to the Common Core state standards. So we went through an adoption cycle, a quick adoption cycle. We looked at McGraw-Hill and Reveal Math. They were better aligned to the Common Core state standards. And that was basically the standards that the state of Wyoming wanted our kids to know and be able to do. Then we have a 7-point data system that we use to create cut scores to place students in co-taught courses. We created those co-taught courses. So we had them, but we created them after we looked at the cut scores. So we hadn't really put them into curriculum yet, but then we created them after we saw that we needed a need for it. So those co-taught courses, and specifically in math, are Informal Algebra 1, Informal Geometry, and Informal Algebra 2. Informal Algebra 1 is only 9th grade students. It's 2 class periods a day though, with 3 adults in the room. So this is where the collaboration with general education teachers, special education teachers, and paraprofessionals are so important, because in the Informal Algebra 1 courses, those adults are utilized very effectively and efficiently in the room. The Informal Algebra 1 courses are the courses that now that Colleen Seeloft teaches, that she's been very effective at growing kids. Informal Geometry are 10th grade students, and same thing, 3 adults in the room. Colleen Seeloft, she teaches the Informal Geometry courses. And then Informal Algebra 2, there's a little bit less support. Those are all juniors. There's 2 teachers, but it's still a co-taught model, one class period. The reason that it's specifically 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade is because the YTOP is telling us that our kids need to be proficient in Algebra 1 as 9th graders and geometry as 10th graders. And then the ACT is more aligned with Algebra 2, and our kids take the ACT as juniors. So, and then we were provided on-site coaching from Instructional Intensity and Ivy League Learning every 2 weeks. We were really intentional about this. Before the visit, teachers were asked to answer the 4 questions below. Then Lori and I would pre-brief before the visit, anticipate what we were going to see, and then we would go into the classroom and provide feedback based on those 4 questions. What this helped with was our teachers knew what to expect and what we needed to work on every single time we came into the classroom. The next thing that we realized was that the YTOP website was something that our teachers hadn't accessed prior to 2018, 2019. So we provided professional development days, like half days, to show them how to create rosters, look at the data, navigate the website, utilize it more as a resource. So we have the data, and then we started to use it to improve student achievement. The next thing we did with our paraprofessionals was provide support or put them in content specific areas to provide consistency for our kids and teachers. And then Lori helped us with co-teaching strategies for our co-taught classes to ensure that we were effectively using all adults in the classroom. Peer observations were done with debriefs. So for example, we had people go in and observe Ms. Seeloff in the classroom, see how she utilized the classroom because she's really effective at it. And then we would debrief with her and the teachers through the peer observation to get better. And then PLC at work conferences. So the ones in Las Vegas, the math PLC at work in Georgia were also utilized. Our teachers have also been making common formative assessments. The common formative assessments are developed to assess student proficiency and collect data. So basically, teachers give this in the classroom. They see how many kids are proficient, what they need to work on, collect the data, then they collaborate in PLCs. They take the data and then they utilize that in the interventions on Wednesday to close those skill gaps. So again, we're collecting data, and then we're utilizing the data. Then Black Hills Special Services Data Retreat. I just put this up here because we had 2 goals in 2018 and 19. We've met goal number 2, so we've dropped that goal with the reduction of the resource classes and then the addition to the co-taught classes. So 80% of our special education teachers or students are being exposed to the essential standards. So now with all that work, we've done this work in about 6 months' time. We needed to collect some more data. So our teachers did a ton of work, a lot of kudos to them. They went through a lot, they put up with a lot. It was really awesome with how they responded to the feedback that we gave them. But you can see, we took the 2020 winter interim in February of 2020. So this is less than 6 months after we took the fall interim. And we were outperforming the state by 8 points in 9th and 10th grade math and 13 points in 10th grade math. So there was a huge jump. From there, our teachers wanted to keep the momentum going. So after the winter interim, the document on the left was used to gather or to utilize the data. So basically, we analyzed individual teachers and analyzed individual rosters, and they pinpointed students that they could move from below basic to basic, basic to proficient, and then proficient to advanced, and then enrich the advanced students. So we analyzed all of the students in individual classes to try to target them and grow them from the winter to the summative. So we wanted to see more growth. The document on the right, top right-hand corner, the assessment data tracker, it was utilized in individual classes where teachers track students from the fall to the winter to show their progress. So that was another way that we tried to target growth. Then probably the coolest way that our math teachers tried to target growth was they got in their PLCs, they grouped students that were below basic, basic, proficient, or advanced into groups. swapped them. It didn't matter what class they were in. And they provided intervention or enrichment to try to grow them again. So basically they put those kids in targeted groups to try to narrow skill gaps or enrich students that were already proficient or advanced. Current data. So if you remember in 2018, 2019, we started the year off below the state average. We again took the fall interim in September. We are ahead of the state average in both 9th and 10th grade math at the moment. And we're implementing similar processes right now to try to grow our kids from fall to winter, winter to the summative. That leads us into our current action plan and then also our Black Hills services or special services goals. Questions?
Questions, comments?
What sort?
Mm-hmm.
How much did we lose during the March to May?
If I can back up, Brenda, I'll look at just the comparison from 2019 to this year. I feel like if you look at it, we probably lost some, but our proficiencies are higher. So these are obviously different cohorts, but last year we had lower percentages. So we've actually started the year higher than they were, but I'm not quite sure percentage wise because they're taking different tests. So the 8th graders are taking an algebra test, or last year's 8th graders, this year's freshmen are taking an algebra test. This year's sophomores are taking a geometry test. Last year they took an algebra test. So.
Any other questions? The grant from the state, what's tied to that grant? Is there money? Is there direction? What is the grant?
So Gail Kendall could answer this a little bit better, but we apply for the grant, or Greg too, and then we put an action plan in place for the grant. And then the state, Greg, is it state or federal dollars? I forget. Okay, so it's through the state, but we have to show evidence. We have to put together an action plan and then show the evidence that we're putting the action plan together and then show student growth and student achievement, basically.
So is there money tied to the grant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, sorry.
Any other questions? Comments?
Good work.
Looking good, man.
Thanks. It's weird not talking about coaching. I was a little nerded up, so. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That was good.
Okay, next is a report on nutrition services. Leah, welcome back.
Chairman Corr, Superintendent Barringer, Board of Trustees. Biggest update right now for nutrition services would be that the SFSP, so the summer meal program, has been extended through June 2021. So all meals would be free through the end, essentially through the end of August. So the other thing that we're doing is we are offering pickup meals at Lincoln from 12:30 to 1 for any child in Green River, ages 2 through 18. We are also offering weekend meals on Fridays. So we send enough meals home for families, just like we did during the school closure. We have a new vending machine at Lincoln. Kids are super excited over there. Parents are excited. I've had several calls that say parents are saying, could you please raise their a la carte for me because they want to buy more from the vending machine? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, of course. So they're super excited about the vending machine. We had a little hiccup with it. We had a motherboard go down in it. So JR and I got to go over, and it was the first time for me installing a new motherboard. That was interesting. Thanks for the help, JR. Vending machine at Lincoln, still going strong. Kids are loving it there. Our participation, we are still trending at a 10% increase, even though we are down in enrollment. Our Our meals are holding. We're doing everything that we did last year. At the beginning of the year, we started doing offer or just serve only so that the kids would come through and they got everything on the line. We are now back to doing serve. Offer. So the kids can come in and they can say, oh, I don't want the carrots, but I'll take the celery. It helps cut down on food waste. Makes the kids have a lot more control of their choices for their meals. We're just cooking along. Any questions?
No pun intended, I
No,
take it?
no, none.
Any questions, comments?
Do you have?
I'd just like to thank you and your staff for your hard work. I mean, it's amazing what you've done for kids. I can't thank you enough.
I love it. So thank you for your support. It means a lot.
Yep.
Do you have a lot of people utilizing the meals for the 2 to 18 outside of the district and on the weekends?
It's been slow. It's been kind of a slow. People were kind of leery, I think, at first, to come pick up the meals. We're doing about 52 breakfast, 52 lunch a day. And then on the weekend, we're doing about 150.
Oh,
so it's it's gradually starting. Like today we did 62 breakfast and lunch. So
Good.
yeah, it's picking up.
All right. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate
Thanks so
it.
much.
Next is a report on human resources. This should be short, sweet, and to the point, I would guess. Just kidding. Kind of.
Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, trustees, thank you very much for giving me a few minutes for a quick update. I wanted to point out Green River High School team, because it is a team effort. What a phenomenal job there. The district goals, number 1, improve student achievement. And I think number 2, improve wellness and safety. And I hope you hear a couple of things in my 2-minute drill that talks about that, and then improve communication and collaboration. And I think you're going to hear all goals touched on. Those are the 3, because collaboration at the high school, that's a big reason why they're seeing the improvement that they're seeing. So moving over to the fun stuff of HR, we talked about in May, Title IX, the feds changed all the rules and regulations surrounding Title IX. So we are neck deep in training, and Steve Lake and Anne Marie, Lisa went to training with me today up in Kimmer, and we need to train investigators, decision makers, and we need to train on the process. And we're working on that hard. And it's been a handful. Oops, sorry, Dave Asselmeyer, not Steve Lake. Dave Asselmeyer went today, not Steve Lake. But it felt a little bit overwhelming, didn't it? There was a lot there, but we're progressing. And if something arises in that arena, we're going to be ready for it. School safety. It's the next piece that we've been working on in our office. And really, Jason, I don't know if he left, Forsgren, but Kent, really have enjoyed working with those 2 guys lately. But school safety, we were connected to a school safety officer, Guy Grace, in the nation. And he kind of identified 4 categories for schools to talk about. One of those categories is technology for school safety. JR, you deserve all the credit for this, but I'm going to talk about it here right quick, is some of our safety measures we have in place. Sophos, that is our antivirus ware, so people can't hack into our system. I know, Chris, we had an incident last year, so that's new and improved. The next thing is iBoss. Here's what iBoss does different than the old guys, Microsoft, is the one-to-one initiative that we implemented. Students can disconnect from the high school on their Chromebook. When they go home, they connect on their personal or family's network. What iBoss does is it still filters in that circumstance if it's a school device. So some new improvements there, really proud of. Again, everybody deserves some credit. Alan talked about piloting BARC last year. Now we have the BARC program district-wide. What that means, if a student were to search how to make something scary, pipe bomb, or search suicidal ideations, BARC is catching that thing and it's going out to administrators and SROs. So again, I want to talk about it, school safety. The next one within technology that has to do with school safety is ClassLink. Daleen in her office. Okay, we have ClassLink that is the single dashboard to log into everything. In there, you have the Safe to Tell link. And I know we have a little bit work to do, but students, we need to remind them, hey, if you've got something going on, they see the icon there, Safe to Tell, they can say something's up, and that'll go to the principals and the SROs, and hopefully we can head off some things. When I talk about our school goals of communication, we took a study, and Guy Grace has helped us a lot, me and Mr. Behringer, but Guy Grace pointed us in the direction of the Arapahoe shooting in Colorado in 2016. And some of the things that they evaluated after that is students didn't feel like they had an avenue to report maybe something was up. Another analysis was lack of SRO involvement and communication. So school safety, a lot of things have been going on. Got to give credit for Doug for physical safety. Hey, when Guy Grace and I walked around, he was like, good stuff, buzzing people in. We know we want to continue to improve that system, but a lot of good things happening there. Kent, okay, again, we want to build the relationships with our SROs, but we have advanced or enhanced safety drills. We're now dispatching to fire drills and evacuation drills. Those are added things that we're really proud of. Again, behavior and risk assessments would be the fourth thing under school safety that we would want to continue to improve on. If a student has something going on, we need to risk assess them. The probability, would they harm others? The probability, would they potentially harm themselves? There's been a lot of work done in this arena by Alan and his staff, but as you can see, the improving communication and collaboration, all of these four phases coming together to enhance safety and wellness in our district. So we're moving forward and having some conversations there. The next piece that, besides those two that we've done quite a bit of work on is Frontline Central. Frontline Central, it's a digital system that we can do a lot of things on, and we launched it this year in HR. One of probably the two major things is the COVID acknowledgement form that went out. We saved a couple of trees, okay, because teachers now can log into the Frontline system and acknowledge the COVID expectations through HR. We're proud of that work. The other piece, though, is all the hiring paperwork went digital. So I know we've saved a couple trees. I'm proud of that. And we're looking to still expand the capability of Frontline Central. All the substitute training went online through Frontline Central, and the capability is just there to continue to grow that system. Next in HR, I think everybody knows Super 8. You're going to hear about that in a minute, but Super 8 continues on. And Lisa, Craig, board members, Robin, and Ashley, you were there last time, but Karina, thank you guys for being there. And I kind of dread Super 8 a little bit because I feel like I'm being pulled like a piece of taffy in there, but we've accomplished some things, and you'll see that moving forward tonight. The continued staff analysis to student enrollment, and I'm smiling a little bit here as I go through my list, but that's a really critical one in these times. We've heard the governor talk about the cuts to the state, and Chris, your leadership and your department has done tremendous work there. But I want to acknowledge the work of the board and the district over the last 5 to 6 years, because we've been able to, through attrition, and those things were hard. When someone leaves us and we make a decision not to replace them, people have to pick up the slack, and those things become hard, and it does hurt the culture. But the work that we were able to do through attrition the last 5 to 6 years is really healthy stuff, positioning us to take on what happens with the budget and the economy of Wyoming moving forward. And I think we're poised in our district to take that on in a way that doesn't necessarily result in pink slips to our employees. And I'm really proud of that. And board, you deserve a lot of credit, Chris, your department, but the analysis and trying to stay right sized to what the student enrollments are doing, some important work that we do all the time. And Daleen deserves some credit there as well. Principal is going to get a little chuckle at this, but substitutes, it's a handful. We have sub shortages. We have things going on with daycare where subs are like, we're willing to help out in the district, but it's really hard to get that unannounced phone call in the morning because now I'm put against the gun with daycare and those things. And so we're working through some issues there. We've seen some improvement. I know this time it is, Steve. I think all principals have had some frustrations with the sub shortage in the district, but I think we've seen some improvement. I'm happy to report the last 2 weeks, we've hired 10 new subs to the district. I think 4 of them have been sub aides, and then we've hired certified substitutes who have to be certified through the PTSB. So we've been out there doing some recruiting and getting some things going. It's not where it needs to be, but it is improved. The next thing, I'm proud of this work as well, our evaluation work and considerations. I presented to the board a couple of years ago that we moved over from McCrell to Danielson, and last year was the full implementation phase of that. I want to choose my words wisely here, but really want to give some kudos to Matt and to Anne Marie and everybody with the recalibration of the evaluation tool and really leveraging that, just like we've seen with Lori and the teamwork at the high school, leveraging that work to grow folks. It's not necessarily a gotcha, but the new tool has created the avenues to continue for all of us to improve instruction and ultimately the number one goal of the district is those student outcomes. So some big time work's been done there and it's paid off pretty nice. I think you guys have heard of this one, the last one that we've worked on, and it's not necessarily last, but since you asked for a quick update is COVID-19. We've had a couple things going on, and I have to give big time kudos to Michelle and the nurses. They have done a phenomenal job, and Craig as well, because we mentioned this. We had question after question. What's this going to look like? And we did the best that we can. I know you saw the HR responses that we put together earlier this fall, but I'm really proud that number one, we've been able to handle things discreetly, and we've been able to handle things in a way that has been pretty good. Have there been hiccups along the way? You bet. But we've honored the new laws that have been put in place, the Family First Coronavirus Act that directly impacts the HR office, how we're dealing with employees when they can't be here. And it has a really different look when Tony, you've got that runny nose, you've got the headache, you've got some stuff going on. I'm not saying you've got COVID, but I'm going to ask you to go home till you're 24-hour symptom free. And then we're plugging in the new laws, Family First Coronavirus Act and those things, and giving him some added protection, the 10 days of protection where we're not going to charge him as sick days and all of those things. It's really been unique. It's really been a learning experience. Dr. Harris and Dr. Station too, they deserve credit, but Michelle has done a phenomenal job with our district. I know Superintendent Behringer, one question, okay, we worried about tier 3, we worried about some of those things. As long as we can continue to say our isolated cases are being held in an appropriate way, we're getting the quarantines, and as long as we can't demonstrate that one of our buildings or one of our district sites is an epicenter, a place that's potentially spreading the virus, we're going to continue to be okay. But as we know, every day is a blessing. And so there's been a tremendous amount of work there, lots of questions, lots of fear and anxiety about losing jobs. And again, really good team effort with payroll. And it's just been a really nice team effort, everybody coming together. And I have seen some real nice enhanced collaboration in the district working on all of this stuff. It's been nice. Last bullet I put here, because I know that Mike took all the time. I had my 30-point PowerPoint deal, but I didn't put it up there. But last thing I'm going to put on here is man, I sure am a proud dad of Chantel, Jake, and Abby.
Tracy's done a great job.
I'm open to some questions. Tracy has done a pretty good job.
Okay. Family hour was on the radio, not here. Thanks, Jason. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks for the update. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. And I'll have some comments on COVID and also have some comments on Michelle Cordova and what she's done. And I also have some comments on the SRO, and I'll do that during my board comments. Next up is the update on the budget and funding. And if this is not, we got 9.018 first, Chris, sorry. And that is a quick discussion on the BOCES science field trip grant. The only thing I wanted to mention in this was that I noticed they're asking for 100% funding on their project. And sometimes that can be a problem, Rochelle and Mark. If it's 100% funding, in the past, I know it's been a problem. I don't know if that's changed. And if that's the case, I'm just wondering if we should, instead of send this on and hope like heck it works, that maybe we rework it a little bit. I don't know what you guys think.
It's usually a problem.
It's usually a problem.
It's
yeah.
only $5,000,
Right.
but it's still 100% of the project.
And some of that can be, sorry, I'll jump in then, Mark. If if there's things in kind that we can show in this that are being given, if there's volunteer time or other things like that going into it, that can count also. So make sure that that's shown.
And it's a wonderful
in this.
grant. I
Yes.
mean, I want them to do what the grant's about, but I just was curious. I just didn't
Well,
want
they
it to
could-
go there and have to come back.
Well, they could, if it's formatted right, and I looked at it, and it's actually a little over 100%, just a touch.
Yeah.
I mean, they can roll the dice and they'll say, well, we'll give you 80%, and that's what you get. So, you can roll the dice. A lot of times they don't totally shoot it down. They just, we're just coming back with well, we're not going to fund it 100%, but we'll go at 80%. So this is what you get. So I don't know if you need to make them rework it or just have them
Okay. Do you
roll
want
the
us to
dice
just,
with it.
let's just approve it, move it forward and see what happens?
I think that's probably the best thing.
Okay. And I think, Craig, the message to these people, whether they're putting in BOCES grants, that sometimes those are real hard to get through 100% funding. They like to see maybe kids do a little fundraising or whatever. Okay. So I need a motion to approve the BOCES grant for Green River High School Science Field Trip Grant.
So moved.
Moved by Karina,
Second.
second by Brenda. Any discussion further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next item is the here update on the budget and funding. Chris, if it's all positive, welcome.
Okay, thank you. I will keep it as positive as I can keep it. So, and there is a lot to be positive about. So, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and trustees, as far as the budget update goes for this year, everything is going well. The school year is off to a great start, and I think everybody can agree that everybody from students, parents, teachers, support staff, administrators, the school board, and the community collectively deserve the credit for getting the first quarter in the book. So good job. There really has been no budget impacts on our funding for this year. The year is going well. We haven't been asked to cut any fund or to cut any budgets. So we're in good shape. But in talking about funding considerations, this is going to be just an update for you from the budget message that I delivered in July. And I've got three considerations that I want to talk about tonight. And the number one, of course, is the ADM and what is happening with that for this year. And this year, as you know, is very unique in that we were down more students than we anticipated due to COVID-19. We, right now, we are down 142 when you compare the ADM for 1920. And of those 142, we're estimating about 78 of those students left Green River School District to either do homeschool or to attend a virtual school, hopefully in Wyoming. But we would lose the funding for those students and lose the ADM for those students. But that then leaves about 64 students that we anticipate, or that we estimate, I should say, that actually just moved out of Green River. And we were expecting a move of students out of Green River as it's trended over the last few years. But in the state of Wyoming, of course, there's a soft landing built into the funding model so that when you lose 142 kids, you don't get dinged for the full amount for that loss. They have a 3-year rolling average. And like I said, these numbers are as of today. That 3-year rolling average would mean that we would lose funding for 72 students if the ADM were to be recorded today.
What was that number again?
72.
Thanks.
So versus the whole 142, it would be a soft landing at a loss of 72 students in the funding model. And as you know, the funding model self-adjusts, and it will adjust across the state, across all the districts for students that are lost. One thing that the Wyoming Association of Superintendents, I believe, the WASA, they are collecting an informal data collection on ADM for October 1st of 2020 to compare to October 1st of 2019, just because that data will not be readily available at the state. They have to double check the data, but we're hoping that we have a count like that, or a count from WASA by the end of this week, where we can kind of get an idea of what's happening in the state, because there could be a huge self-adjustment at the state level just on ADM alone. Now, I don't know if it'll be huge, but it would be nice to see what that would be, what that looks like, and what that's going to mean to the state overall. Because that's the first measure really, is what is the state going to have to fund in terms of students for 21-22. Consideration number 2 is the current recalibration of the funding model. And right now there's 2 sessions remaining on the committee. They're going to meet October 28th through the 30th. That's their 3rd meeting. And then they're also going to meet December 14th and 15th, and that's their 4th and final meeting. And in case you don't know, I'm sure you do know that those meetings are pretty transparent in that all of the materials, all of the discussion is available online, and it's available ahead of time, and it's also recorded. So that is good information. If you go to the yolegislative.gov website, the last 2 meetings are there, and these meetings will be there as well. The recalibration is required by law every 5 years, and we have received, and Chairman Corr and Superintendent Behringer are in receipt of a letter that came from the Select Committee on School Finance Recalibration, in which they have requested feedback from the Wyoming School District Board of Trustees on what impact the estimated K-12 budget gap would have on school district operations. And the budget gap that they're talking about is estimated by the LSO, the Wyoming Legislative Service Office, for 21-22 biennium to be approximately $515 million, or 16%, and for the school foundation program, and $26 million for the school capital construction account. They do go on to estimate what the budget gap would be in the 23-24 biennium, and it basically almost doubles for that second biennium. So that is a concern, and that budget gap is huge. And honestly, I think there's a lot more to addressing that budget gap than what the school districts can offer up. If anything, I mean, we are operating every year, I think, as efficiently we can. And I'm not saying that we can't improve and tighten our belts as well, and we will. But that is a huge budget gap. Moving on to consideration number 3. Of course, it is the downturn in the economy and the reduction of the mineral royalties that's coming into Wyoming that's creating the budget gap that I just described. First of all, I think school district number 2, we're aware of the dilemma that the state is facing. We're in a pretty good position to meet some financial challenges based on what we've done in the last few years. I think that the challenges are enhanced due to the global pandemic, and hopefully we're in a state of not knowing when it's going to improve and hoping that it is going to improve. I think, once we get through this COVID-19 thing, and once the economy can rebound, I think it's going to rebound with a bang, personally. That's my opinion. People are desperate to get things back on track. But in meeting those challenges, I think we would meet these challenges and stay true to the district mission of learning for all. That's going to be the goal, to keep the programs that we have as much as possible to serve the students. That's what we're here for. And secondly, everybody knows that we're in the people business. 81% of our budgets are designated for personnel. So we have a huge challenge to face, but I trust in our team. I trust in Superintendent Behringer and our cabinet team that we've been discussing. We've been looking at the data, and we want to bring more people into the discussion. But as you know also, that Wyoming is bound by the state constitution to provide students an equal opportunity to receive a proper education. And so there's a lot of people that need to get together and solve this problem. we're going to do all we can to support, what we can do with recalibration. But it is the legislature's responsibility to address the structural deficit, and we have to remember that. It cannot solely be borne by a reduction to school district funding. So as Jason mentioned, we are monitoring the ADM. We're monitoring some solutions that we can use to address that reduction. We're closely watching recalibration. We'll continue to advocate for the block grant concept. We don't want to lose that, so that Wyoming school districts can retain local control. That's what we want. That's what we need to run our program here in Green River. And the legislatures up to this point have emphasized that they want to hear from the school board and from community members. I guess school employees, they've heard it enough from us, but and we will help the school board and the community members to get the message out, but they really want a broader conversation coming into them. And then lastly, I would just like to say that we are recommending under leadership of Superintendent Behringer to the reformation of the budget task force that we had in place in 2017 to broaden the conversation and the involvement in our financial decisions. And it would include representation from the board, school administration, certified and support staff, activities, students and parents. And we're already collecting data. We're looking at different things, different analyses, and really we need more information coming out of what comes out of recalibration is going to drive this, and of course what's going to come out of the funding challenges that's coming from the state. And so the more, as we learn more of that, we're going to be able to make some more informed decisions. But right now we do know that what we are faced with our ADM. So I hope that wasn't totally bad news, but it is the task at hand. And if you have any questions.
What do we get per student?
Roughly, ballpark.
$12,000 when you do not take into account the reimbursables, special ed and transportation. So it's $12,000 there.
That's $850,000, $60,000 right there.
That's correct.
Okay. I like the idea of the budget task force, but we still have so many unknowns.
Correct.
We really do. I would also say that of the three considerations you gave us, really the only one that we have any control over is recalibration. And I don't know how much control we have over that because that deals with the legislative issue.
Correct.
I don't know what the heck we do about the downturn in the economy. I don't think there's a school board member in here that can do anything about that. And ADMs being down, they move out, they go to this, they do that. Maybe we could do a better job saying, come back, don't do virtual learning. But pretty tough stuff there. I am in receipt of the letter, and I had a discussion with Craig on this, and we have decided at this point we're not going to respond because we think two things. We have our lawyers are saying that we have a coalition, and I think the coalition needs to take the lead on this a little bit because the bottom line is the legislature has to fund public schools by constitution.
Right.
So, I don't want to go back to court, and the other thing is that the letter to me, I read the letter, and if you guys want a copy of it and read it, it just appears they want us to do their job. And I don't want to do their job. I didn't get elected to do their job.
Exactly.
So anyway, Craig, do you want to add something on that?
No, I just would reiterate what you said in visiting with the School Boards Association and school attorneys. They're very want us to proceed with caution if we do decide to respond because there's some things that they're afraid could be used in that letter against other schools. So.
Oh, okay. Any other questions of Chris? Thank you very much. Very detailed, and we're not raising the white flag, but the red flag has definitely been raised.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
And we'll
Chris.
get to work, and I'm confident that we'll come up with a solution. So.
Yep. Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chris.
All right, next item is consider approval of the new policy, IMG, policies and procedures on service animals in schools. This is second reading. Dr. Foos, any changes?
No, there's not, Chairman Core. Trustees, thank you for your consideration. No changes.
All right, I need a motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Robin, second by Brenda to approve new policy, IMG. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is consider approval of the revision to policy ACA, sexual harassment. Second reading, same question.
No changes. I'm looking to proceed forward.
Okay, need a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Robin, second by Rochelle to approve revision to policy ACA, sexual harassment. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next one is, I've had some questions on this one, the approval revision of policy JEB, entrance age, first reading. Mr. Foos.
Our friends down in the legislature last year made a change, tightened it up a little bit that students need to be 5 years old by August 1st instead of the older 15th down the road. And this is just in response from the WSBA for us to become current on the new legislation.
Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Robin to approve this on first reading. There'll be 3 readings on this.
Yes, there will.
I am not in favor of this, even though it's a legislative mandate. So out of protest, I'm voting no. Any other questions, comments?
Jason, how does that affect our junior kindergarten program?
Greg, do you want to help me with this answer? It may have, very respectfully, Brenda, in the public comment here, I want to be careful with my answer. It could have some implications. If you remember, our junior Ks are ran with the same rules and premise of regular kindergarten. So there may be some impact.
Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, Board of Trustees, the impact can be that 45 days. We have maybe, just kind of off the top of my head, 5 to 10 kids that fall in that very late category. So we generally pull kids from that March birth date up until that September 15th. The bulk of our kids come from that March time to that September or to that August 1st time. So right in there is where the bulk of our kids are. There's some of our youngest, and there's some of our kids that struggle the most. It is a concern, obviously, that 45 days is no longer now something that we can consider, and it would potentially have an impact on how many junior kindergartens we could fill.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah. I guess, is there any way, Jason, that we can get the why, who, and where and why, on this thing? I mean, can you do some research for us? What's their thinking? Why did they do what they did?
I can get that research for you and give it to you
Yeah.
at the next board meeting.
Okay, I think
Chairman
that would
Core.
be helpful. I don't know, this kind of hits home because I have a grandson that will turn 5 on August 2nd. And it really ties your hands on something like that. And I'm assuming parents still have an opt-in, opt-out at that level. I mean, they can say, I'm not putting my kid in kindergarten until he's a little older.
That is correct. There is the opt-out for a year, and
They can
the
do that.
year later start.
But how does that
yes.
affect that kid being partaking in junior K? I mean, that's another question. I think.
Yeah, and there could be some impacts like that we are worried about, and we will research that, and I'll have Superintendent Behringer send that to you in email form.
Okay, thank you.
Jason, are we currently doing kindergarten readiness assessments?
Not currently, and the reason why you're seeing this policy so early is because we try to do it early, starting around January, February range, and we want to have the policy in place so that our patrons understand, what the new regulations are when we start roundup in those assessments.
Yeah, I think it's going to add more work to the school district, and probably going to bump heads with quite a few parents on assessment of social ability.
Understood.
It's a very subjective thing.
Yeah, that's why I think I'd like to see a little why, and what, there's got to be a reason what they did. I don't know. I guess I could research that, but that's why you get the big bucks, Mr. Foose. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm against this.
I'm against it.
I don't think, I mean, we can vote against it, but.
I know
there's
you
no
can,
law.
I know.
Okay,
It's
I'm
just,
Making sure I
I was,
understood that
that's why I was in my head making sure it passes, because it needs to pass.
Mhm.
I would have voted in favor if it had
I'm
come to
not in
that.
favor.
So it's just my protest vote, okay? I had it figured out, Brenda. Next, consider approval of revision to policy IGDF-E fundraiser form.
Thank you, Chairman Core. Just a 10-second rundown here on the fundraiser form. We want that last and final signature by our activities director, Tony Beardsley. And you can see the changes there. And it's really important, especially when we're dealing with money and all those things. We kind of have the one point of approval and management. And so really not looking for 3 readings here, more of an amendment so we can get this thing out there and get some of the hiccups we're having taken place immediately.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Ashley. Any discussion on this?
Give me some examples of why it would be denied. Just curiosity.
Here's one example. Let's talk about whatever fundraiser you can think of. And let's say that the cheerleaders ran the process and had the signature approval from, cheer coach, high school principal, and ultimately the last person line is the activities director. And then maybe cheer wrestling or another entity wants to do the exact same fundraiser. And I think maybe in that circumstance, it could be potentially denied. And also, and I think the board is well aware of this too, is we want that monitoring because our community gets so hit hard for fundraising. And what a generous community. I mean, the community is the heartbeat of a lot of these funds. And we want, sometimes we may deny one if we don't want 2 cards going out there like the football cards. If basketball, if Miss Ivy were to try to do that, we may potentially deny it because it just becomes too much of a demand on the community. And so I think there would be my examples.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Foose, I thought we were trying to get forms out of policy where they were.
Yeah, in working with Tony and working with a few other stakeholders, we feel like that this is a really important one that needs to be in policy, the fundraising form for fundraisers, because we do have a little bit of a sprinkle. I'm not suggesting someone's trying to not be above board, but sometimes we have organizations and activities that are like, we're going to do a fundraiser. And we want that in policy so that we can lock that down and really be careful and diligent with taxpayer funds.
So then do we have a policy that addresses the form?
Yes, we do.
I think it gives it teeth. Gives them some teeth. It's just a form. I mean, I think if you say it's policy, that it's got more teeth, and that's our practice.
And we did do the update on that policy that again asks Mr. Beardsley to manage that, just like the facility use one. These are the kind of 2 that we still need in there because I don't want to switch gears over to facilities, but we want to really have those things closely monitored by the activity office. Fundraising is one and the facility use is the other. And these are the 2. So sorry about that.
No, don't be
Trustee
sorry.
Tinsky.
I'm just asking the question because when you have something in policy, you have to follow it to a T.
That's
and
right.
You can't sway from it.
And we really want that type of monitoring, especially with these fundraisers, because like I said, someone may not have the intent of being dishonest or below board, but someone just may say in this activity, hey guys, we're going to run a fundraiser over summertime. And we want that policy in that form to signal to them, you can't just go do that. And we need to make sure that Tony is working with the business office and all of those things and that we're managing that money correctly. It's really, pretty delicate, and it can land someone in a bind, even if they're not trying to get into one.
Thank you.
Okay, good question. Really, I mean, it's been brought up. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Next up, Superintendent and Board comments. Rochelle, I'll go with you first.
Oh, geez. Okay. I just real quick, I just want to say I appreciate everybody's work around the COVID. I know people are really tired of it and it's a lot and it's tasking, but I really appreciate the district being quick on the response. If something does come up and informing the public, so we're getting ahead of that gossip game and just being direct and honest about what's going on. I think people really appreciate that. And I just appreciate everybody else doing what you're doing in the schools and working with the kids and keeping them safe and happy and learning. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rochelle. Mark?
I just want to say thanks for all the information and the hard work everybody's doing. Appreciate it a lot. Glad to see the sports and stuff going and getting to listen to some of that. So thank you so much.
Really good stuff tonight, I thought too. Ashley?
So I just wanted to say great job on the first quarter. I know with just having our first few quarantines, I would just encourage our teachers and students to communicate that we're quarantined. You know, what works, what doesn't work, just so we can keep, it's a learning process that we're not used to. And 2 weeks is a long time to be out of school. So that's just my little bit. As a parent of a senior, I was happy to see that we were able to do some homecoming stuff. And also got to meet with the high school counselors, and they're doing great work there and meeting with parents and students. And they go through and meet with every single senior to talk about their future. And I think it's really important for them because I think it weighs heavy on them. They have a lot of decisions to make and they're so young. But so thank you to them. And then I just wanted to say congrats to all of our students and their accomplishments. I know that took a long time today, but it's fun to see that we still were able to do all this stuff. I know there's states and school districts out there that aren't able to do their sports and activities right now. And so we're lucky that we are. And welcome to all our new teachers. I know there's some teacher shortages, so it's great that we're able to fill all those positions in our district. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ashley. Karina?
It was nice to see all the kids here and the recognition, give them recognition for their accomplishments, which is really awesome. The sports thing, again, I think it's really good to give the kids something else to do, something else to look forward to and not have to think about the COVID and everything, wearing a mask every day. Welcome to the new staff. I know they've been here for a quarter and they're still with us, so that's good. Welcome to them. We appreciate them being in the district and trusting the district with their careers. Homecoming, I think we did the best that we could, and I thought it was well put together. The community involvement was phenomenal. There were so many people at the parade, even though they weren't throwing candy or doing any of that, but people were still excited to get out. And from most of what I've noticed, they were, social distance and things like that. So I think it was very well, it was very well done. So good job to you guys. The COVID response, we have had some positive COVID cases, but the message has gotten out there really quickly. It seemed from the outside looking in that everybody knew kind of the plan, what to do, who was there, who shouldn't be there, how long they needed to wait, things like that. And from the outside looking in, it looks really, really good. So keep up the great work. Michelle Cordova and the nurses, just phenomenal job. They have a lot on their plates right now, having to decipher from a common cold to allergies to COVID symptoms, and that's not easy. And, really the biggest shout out for me in the COVID situation are the parents. I know a lot of parents who have kept their kids home because they weren't sure what if they had COVID symptoms or really what was going on. And really that's, as a parent myself, that's hard to do. Sometimes, they sneeze in the morning, they have to blow their nose. You're like, yeah, I got to go to work. Let's just try to, hold out for a little bit. But with COVID, it's very good to take those precautions. And I appreciate the parents for taking those precautions. And if their kids are feeling any slight of symptoms to keep them home for sure. And then last but not least, just thank you all for what you do. I do think that Q1 went very, very well with kids being in school, athletics being able to be done, parent-teacher conferences being able to be there. And, honestly, the district is doing a phenomenal job. So keep up the great work.
All right. Thank you, Karina. Robin?
I too would like to thank some of the same things you think. I think our leadership team has done an amazing job in directing our staff on procedural things. I think they've been very clear in what needs to be done and how to do it, which I think is not always an easy thing to put together and get going. And I know the staff is working hard. I've got my daughter-in-law, my son both teach in the district, and they have been happy with how the leadership in the building and central office has helped them kind of make those decisions. I sincerely like to thank the teachers who go to work every day, reminding those babies what they need to do, how they go about it. It's a whole learning process for them. Their life's a whole lot different right now. And I really appreciate the patience that they're having with all this, plus the worry they have for their own health and their own families. So that's been work really well done. And I think that has gone smoothly because of our leadership. Thank you to all of you who have provided the path for them to go down and the support when it doesn't always go as well as you want. So thank you for that too. I think that's an impressive thing. And then it comes down to our wonderful students who are being very diligent about how they should behave, what they should do, thanks to the good teaching that they've had from I spent some time with my grandkids this last few days. Boy, they were telling me when I was doing something I shouldn't be doing, or I got too close to them, and not intentionally, but I was being told. So it really told me how well their parents have done and their teachers have done. So thank you for your hard work, and please stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Robin. Brenda?
Ditto everybody else. I'm not going to repeat all that, but thank you to the staff for the great job you're doing. Had the opportunity to attend the service of our 2020 graduate that we lost last month. Our choir put on a great performance. We had several students there that they were masked unless they were performing. It was nice to have such good representation and a very emotional service for the loss of Kaylee Welch. Mr. A, thank you so much for the impromptu tour. Had the opportunity to visit Truman and very impressed with the operations, the distancing, the setup they have in the training rooms. Thank you very much for the time. The WSBA trainings have been very good. I didn't attend this last one because we're not going to respond according to Chairman Corr's statement. But the recalibration, the things that we're facing, the trainings have been phenomenal. So if you get an opportunity to do that, I would suggest you to try it out. But I also wanted to thank the City Parks and Recreation Department. The rec board awarded funds for the playground at Edgewater, and they invited school board members and their families, but also people that lived in the Edgewater area to come and look at the bids and give their recommendations. So with proper distancing and masks, we and my grandchildren went and looked at the playgrounds. And so we are hopeful that they'll choose one that we like. So,
I had a vote too.
But that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brenda. A couple of things here. I did too have a chance to look at the RFPs on the Edgewater Park. No matter which way they go, it's going to be a pretty awesome park, I think. I too want to thank Michelle Cordova. As you may or may not know, I was COVID positive. I had to spend 10 days of my life at home. I did not get very sick, but Michelle Cordova, who works for the school district and also works for the county and the state, I had a couple of conversations with her that she called me and told me this, and that. And so Michelle not only does a great job for the school district, but is doing a great job for the state of Wyoming over this COVID thing. And I appreciate her efforts in that. I went to the football game on Friday night. I was out of COVID jail, so I could do that. And Beard's nice job, man. That was quite really, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting the band and the cheerleading and it looked like a high school football game. It was really cool. So And I did have a chance at halftime to go up to the press box. And when I went through the Powell parents, they all had their mask on. So it was well done. Well done. And I know we won't have another home football game. I don't think. No, not going to happen. Anyway, it was good. Nice job. Enjoyed that. Chief Jarvie, I had a chance to talk with him today. He says the relationship between the school district and the police department concerning SRO is a 100% improvement. So whatever you guys are doing with him, and he's very pleased and very happy with what's going on between the SRO and the city of Green River. And he's looking forward to getting an MOU finished up with you, Jason. I know you guys are working on that. Thank God I work for the government, because COVID, for government employees, they take care of you, as we do with our school district employees. Private business, on the other hand, I feel for them. And I think the message from the government employees is a message that should reverberate with private business. And that is, if you don't feel good, don't go to work, but don't have no paycheck, none of that stuff hanging over your head, because then you're going to go to work and it defeats the purpose, I think. Just my thoughts. We had to deal with this COVID stuff. So I know how that works. You guys talked about the kids showing up tonight and the support. How about the parents that were here to support their kids? That's what I was impressed about. Had their mask on, they were here supporting their kids. That's pretty cool stuff. That's all I have. Craig Behringer, you have some wisdom for us tonight.
I do. It's not wisdom, but I have something. I'd like to thank, when we started planning in July, we never had any thought about making it to homecoming or what homecoming would look like. If you remember, we were just kind of plodding away and hoping we could get through a month, 3 weeks. And I went to the high school and sat in on a meeting where they were planning for homecoming, and it was spectacular in the fact, the ideas that they were putting together to try and be safe, but still have something as close to normal as possible. And so the people that planned the homecoming, I'd like to thank, because it really, like I said, 2 months ago, we couldn't envision it. And the turnout, the parade was great. The festivities were great. The activities, we still had a pep rally. So you guys did a great job of keeping it as normal as we possibly could. So I'd like to thank those people that did all the work to get that 1 week for all of us. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, I can't say enough about the high school homecoming and all that stuff. I was shocked. I was expecting a ho-hum, whoop-de-doo high school football game, but it was cool. It was cool. I'm glad I went. Okay, that's all I have. We need to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel and potential litigation pursuant to state statute. And there will be no action following executive session. So if I could get a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Karina to convene into executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Really do. Take a bathroom break. I know that. Thanks, buddy. You're the man. Cool.